I hate to admit it, but I think Bitcoin is dying. And no, I'm not talking about the price drop. I'm talking about this.
Digital credit is built on digital capital. Well, digital capital is Bitcoin.
I've been very vocal. I don't think of 21 as a treasury company. We're a Bitcoin company.
Thank you all. Have a good time with your Bitcoin.
Today, I will be reintroducing the Bitcoin Act.
Bitcoin was supposed to beat the living hell out of the system. And I'm wondering, are we? When I first got into Bitcoin, the dream was simple. Hold your own money. The idea was that your money belongs to you, not a bank or a government that, can freeze your bank account, censor your transactions, or decide if you cross their ridiculous policies. I don't know, like wearing a mask in your own car. Bitcoin was different. It felt like we were taking control of something that had always been taken from us by big institutions, ergo, the banks. Needless to say, it was refreshing. So the first big crack that I noticed was one of Bitcoin's biggest victories, but at the same time, it was probably one of its biggest weaknesses: institutional adoption. 2024, it changed everything. Bitcoin became easier to buy than ever before. That's good, right? Well, it's good in theory, because strangely enough, it made Bitcoin worse. The crazy part is most of us wanted this. We wanted the ETFs approved. We wanted Bitcoin to reach 100K. We wanted governments to pass laws to make it legal. And where did that get us? Anyone with a pulse and a brokerage account can now get Bitcoin exposure through Fidelity, BlackRock, through whatever, without ever touching a Bitcoin wallet. And ironically enough, Bitcoiners celebrated, me included. I was the first one leading this campaign. Bitcoin was mainstream. We weren't the weirdos anymore. We reached all-time highs. It felt like we'd won. But victories have side effects, The dream went from hold your own money to let BlackRock hold it for you. From be your own bank to add it to your 401k. The ETF, it was good in theory because it made Bitcoin more accessible, but not the real Bitcoin. Because it made you consume a version of it that flows through institutions, third parties, the very thing that Bitcoin was invented to avoid. You don't have to go too far. Just go a few years back. The dominant conversations in the space, they were about self-custody or how to make Bitcoin accessible for 8 billion people without compromising its core principles. But now, go on Twitter, go on X. The narrative revolves around the big players pumping our bags. STRC, the US Strategic Reserve, Bitcoin treasury companies stacking sats on corporate balance sheets, ETF inflows, how they're breaking records. We wanted governments. We wanted big institutions to join. ETFs brought unprecedented capital into the ecosystem, and we all wanted this, right? Well, now they're here. Hooray! And you know what they brought us? Problems. Like the 1099 DA, the new tax requirement that makes all exchanges report how much Bitcoin you sold so they can tax you for it, which means more reporting, less privacy. A reminder that everything that the government touches turns to not my words, theirs. The second crack takes that concern to a whole nother level. There's another change that is way more low-key, and nobody's really talking about it, which that's the problem. Nobody's talking about it. So I'm gonna spell it out for you. You see, between 2021 and 2023, everything you saw online, the tweets on X, they were things about like how to send payments over Lightning with near zero fees, or how to improve wallet UX without sacrificing security and all this stuff. And if you wanted to stay informed, you just had to scroll through your X for 10 minutes or listen to a podcast, and you'd walk away feeling like you actually understood where the protocol was heading. Now, you scroll through X, and all you see is Bitcoiners bickering with each other. You scroll a little bit more, tell me how often you actually see serious Bitcoin technical discussions. Last I checked, core versus knots divided the whole ecosystem. Like, dude, when was the last time you saw a thread breaking down a Lightning upgrade or a deep dive into mining decentralization? Actually, if you type self-custody on the X search bar, what comes up is from way before 2024. That was 2 years ago. I mean, is it because we reached hyper-Bitcoinization? Is it because Lightning scaling limitations are fully solved? Or are new layer 2 solutions gaining traction? The sad truth is that most of us don't know anything anymore. Bitcoiners don't know that Bitcoin mining is centralized, or that if you use an exchange, you're doxxed for life, or that 3 mining pools control more than 50% of the entire network's hash rate, meaning 3 companies could theoretically decide what gets confirmed and what doesn't. Hell, do you know what hash rate is? Do you know that hash rate is at a new all-time high? 3 companies control most of it, and you see everybody celebrating. And that's the real red flag. Because Bitcoin dies if people stop caring about how it actually works. For Bitcoin to stay alive as a sovereign system, people need to run nodes. People need to transact peer-to-peer. They need to hold their own keys, not have someone hold them for them. People need to stay engaged with protocol level innovation. Hell, do you even run your own node? Do you know what a node is? Because I'm sure as hell know that Larry Fink doesn't. Today, the main energy is just around pumping bags. Take mining, for example. This used to be a central topic in Bitcoin culture. People debated hash rate distribution, pool dominance, ASIC monopolies, geographic concentration, and whether upgrades like Stratum v2 could reduce pool control. Mining was treated as the backbone of sovereignty, not just in an industry metric. Now that conversions is mostly hash rate at an all-time high, and then what, we move on? If you don't want to be part of the problem, be the solution, because you can actually purchase a miner through Abundant Mines. They plug it in their facility in Oregon, powered by low-cost hydro energy from a local dam, and they handle the technical sides for you. The result is that every single month, you receive sats directly in your wallet, and you can also write off the cost of your miner on your taxes. It's a triple win. You mine, you get Bitcoin, and you get a tax write-off. So check them out below. And if mining is about accumulating Bitcoin without relying on exchanges, there's another side that matters just as much. Instead of selling your Bitcoin when you need cash, LEDN lets you borrow against it. So you can borrow up to 50% of its value, and you get the money directly in your bank account in as little as 8 hours. They helped me build my gym on the island, the Bitcoin Cafe, and now they're 2 thriving businesses. So I'm gonna leave the link below, and you gotta go check out these awesome people. The third red flag hurts the most because it's got nothing to do with the price, ETFs, tax forms. Have you ever heard the phrase, never meet your heroes? Well, scratch that. Let's just say never have heroes. Because there's a friend in the space that told me, and I haven't been able to shake this. He told me that in every cycle, the hero of that cycle becomes the villain in the next one. And when you look at history, he's low-key right. Cycle 1, you got Roger Ver, you know, the Bitcoin Jesus. He renounced his US citizenship. He went to jail for his beliefs. He was one of the first people to bet everything on the idea that Bitcoin was, you know, gonna change the world. He was hardcore, true believer, true believer. Next cycle, he became the guy that forked Bitcoin into Bitcoin Cash. He spent years insisting Bitcoin had failed, and he ended up arrested on tax evasion charges. Instead of Bitcoin Jesus, he became Bitcoin Judas. Obviously, depending on who you ask. Cycle 2, Gavin Anderson, Satoshi's chosen successor. You know, the developer, Satoshi, handed the keys before disappearing. He was supposed to be the steward of the whole thing, but then he gave a presentation to the CIA about Bitcoin. Satoshi's last email was to Gavin, and then Satoshi was gone. Whether that's a coincidence or not, the community, you know, they never fully trusted him again. Cycle 3, Andreas Antonopoulos. And honestly, this one kind of gets me because he was a guy on stage making you feel like Bitcoin was, you know, going to give financial freedom to 8 billion people. He was the guy that made millions understand Bitcoin. He'd explain it like before the internet, you know, sending information, it required permission from large institutions, a phone company, broadcasters, publishers. But the internet broke that. And Bitcoin, in his view, did the same thing for money. It made Bitcoin sound as easy as sending an email, except no banks, middleman, you know the spiel. He was one of the first ones to actually get it and get people to understand it. His speeches were inspiring and it felt something worth fighting for. But then 2020 came and the new heroes arrived. Andreas got quieter, got into other cryptos, shilled other tokens. The culture moved on without him, just irrelevant to the new narrative, I guess, which in some ways is worse. This cycle, I'm not gonna name the heroes because you're probably already getting the names in your head and you already feel something is shifting. All I'm saying is this: the speeches that used to make your hands shake, the speeches that used to make you do crazy things, the ones that would make you believe that Bitcoin was invincible, that would make you keep fighting for Bitcoin, now they sound like shareholder meetings. I know you felt it too. You just probably don't want to say it or haven't realized it yet. And it makes you wonder, was freedom money for everyone? Was it just this thing that we sold ourselves when we were full of young spirit and belief? All I know is humans have a habit of turning gold to ashes. Regardless of all of this, I still believe that Bitcoin is bigger than all of us. It's bigger than the ETFs, the treasury companies, the political theater. You know, it's bigger than the heroes who fell and the villains who rose. Bitcoin doesn't care about any of that. It keeps going, and so do I. Which brings me to the last episode of this chapter. And I won't lie, obviously it's a strange feeling. The channel, the community, the conversations we've had, they've shaped me more than I can let on. And you were here when I was figuring it all out. And here's the thing, I'm 29. I moved to an island, built a gym, I'm getting married, fighting for my health. I'm trying to become the best version of myself. And somewhere along the way, I realized that is the story, not just Bitcoin. Me building my life completely on my own terms, figuring out who I want to become before I turn 30. And I think there are a lot of you in that same place, feeling like something needs to change, but not knowing where to start, wanting to jump, but wanting for someone to go first. So I'm gonna go first. That's what's coming next. I'm not posting for a couple months because I'm gonna be building for a bit, but when I come back, it's gonna feel more me, more real, and therefore this is not a goodbye. Bitcoin is freedom money. It always has and it always will be. And it'll always be part of the story.